be taking a look at how to use a grid in order to effectively drop the facial features proportionately as you work from an image on a screen or a printout and you are trying to create that drawing in your sketchbook or on a separate sheet of paper. Okay, so gridding is a really simple process, and one of the things that we're going to do is use a digital tool to help with the grid process. Right? It's fairly straightforward. There are apps out there that you can purchase and put overlays and on top of different images. You can explore those on your own. I'm just going to use Google Slides in order to do this really quickly. So the first thing that I've done is I've changed the size of the actual image to 8 inches by 10 inches. And I've done that by going to File, Page Setup, and then selecting Custom from the drop-down menu and setting my dimensions in here and then applying. Then I took my image and I imported it in. I'm using an image by Steve Murray. He is a National Geographic photographer, and this is one of his portraits that I'm using as an exemplar. Once I have the image in place, I'm going to start drawing in a shape. I'm going to select a square. I'm going to just draw a random square. It doesn't really matter where it is at this point in time, because what we need to do is we need to set the parameters for this particular box. Okay? So I'm going to go to Format Options, and I'm going to change the width to 1 inch and the height to 1 inch in order to get a perfect square. Right? It's important that you make sure that this lock aspect ratio is unchecked. Otherwise, what you're going to notice is that when you change one dimension, the other one's going to change automatically. So once this is in place, this correct size, I'm going to take my fill, I'm going to make it transparent, and I'm going to change my border color to a kind of a lightish gray. And I found that about 3 pixel dimensions is good for being able to see this fairly clearly. Right? You can play around with it and see what you like as well. Okay, so I'm going to copy and paste that block, and because the shapes snap together, I'm able to very quickly get these boxes to come across the top of my image, and then I'm going to select all of them. I'm holding the Shift key in order to grab multiple objects, and right click, and I'm going to group these together just so that it's a little bit easier in case I unclick, for example. Right now I can click and it grabs everything again. I'm going to Command or Control C for copy, and I'm going to paste that as well, and now I've got my second row, and I'm going to grab the 2 of them together and then paste again. And very, very quickly, I am able to establish a grid over top of a photo. All right, and the best part about this is that it is set up perfectly for what it is that I need to be able to do, right? And I can manipulate and slide images in and out in order to create this overall structure. Okay, so that's going to be part 1, is getting the image on your grid. Now what I want to do is I want to think about my own composition here in terms of how I want to emphasize this. And again, I'm going to draw in a shape. I'm going to use a rectangle, and I'm going to kind of start to kind of block out the areas that I don't want. I'm going to use black here just so that it really makes it a stark contrast. And I'm going to play around with what I want the composition to look like in my final drawing. I'm going to line that up. Right, and again, using the guide features, makes it really, really easy for me to go in and customize and get everything lined up. Okay, so there we go. This is what I'm going to use for my my particular drawing. If I'm printing this out, what I would probably do is I would join all of these together, right? And of course I would turn these white so that I'm not wasting my ink coming out of my paper. So I'm also going to just change that. I'm going to change my border color to white as well. All right, so one other thing that we can do here is to create a coordinate system. And to do that, I'm gonna copy these boxes here, and I'm gonna paste them down at the bottom, and I'm just gonna put a line through here, and I'm gonna change the orientation to centered horizontally and centered vertically as well. Because what I want to do here is type in some coordinates to make it easier for me to cross-reference to my original. So across the bottom, I'm going to put a numeric coordinate 4 and 5. Right? I can make these a little bit bigger, perhaps. Right, nice and large for us to be able to see. And then I'm also going to take these coordinates. I'm going to copy them again. And actually, I'm not going to copy them. I'm going to just copy 1, and that way I'm having troubles grabbing just the 1. Do you know what I need to do? I need to ungroup them. Okay, so here we go. Now we can start going. I'm going to move that one up, copy and paste this one as we go up the side. Right, of course I could grab a whole bunch of these as well, just so that I have less clicking that I need to do. There we go, and I'm going to select all of these, and again I'm going to change my font size and my alignment, and starting in the bottom left, I'm going to say this is my A block, B block, C block, D block, E block, F block, and G block. Again, let's get it a little bit bigger so it's easier to see. There we go. So by having these coordinates on both my reference photo and in my sketchbook or on my paper, it just makes sure that I'm getting the details in the correct boxes. All right, so we're going to jump back over to our paper drawing.